Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday. Where am I at here? Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah, we got her. It's Thursday. It's May the 25th, 2023. It's another Technical Awful podcast. Glad you could join us today. Thank you very much if you're stopping by for the first time here on the live stream on youtube.com/Life'sGlitchTV. We moved the live stream. It's 100% YouTube. All eggs, one basket. Fuck the system. We're doing it against the grain. We're not diversifying our portfolio. We're all in. Litecoin. Got another great show lined up for you today. As always, if you're catching us on the RSS feeds, thank you. And hopefully you enjoy your drive to work as much as you possibly can on the wonderful Friday morning. But before we get started, the most important question of the week, Mr. Black, how's your week?
Another week. That's it.
Phenomenal.
Just another week.
Phenomenal. My week was also more or less another week. I finished the current content in Star Rail, wrote my review. Mark just sent me the file last night. That's coming up here in the next, it'll be, if it's not after this podcast, it'll be early tomorrow. And then I've got to decide what the shit I'm going to do between now and Final Fantasy 16, because that's not out until the end of June, almost, 22nd, I think. And I was gonna do Firmament, which is the new game from Cyan, the Myst guys, but unfortunately, there's a couple of nasty bugs, like corrupting your save file nasty bugs that are currently in the game, and I ain't about that life. So I'm gonna wait that one out. So I gotta figure out what the hell I'm gonna do in the meantime. But otherwise, that was more or less. More or less my week, but it wasn't a bad one. We've had some decent weather. We finally got rain. We needed that desperately. Shit was getting dry as hell out there, and so that was good to see. But yeah, weird. This morning was kind of weird. So we get deer around here all the time, especially now because they've been plowing down more and more of the friggin' woods out this way. And so there's less and less area for these deer, and they're just fucking walking around every broad daylight. They don't give a fuck anymore. It doesn't have to be nighttime. That shit, fucking broad daylight, deer walking around doing their thing. But what you don't see a lot of around here is ducks. It like rarely ever happens. Seagulls, lots of seagulls. But you don't see ducks around the residential area. You'll crows and seagulls and every other bird known to man, but not a lot of ducks. But this morning, when I'm waking up and I'm half awake, and Emma's up and she's all full of fucking piss and vinegar today. She clearly slept well, so she's all fucking jumping around the room and shit and doing the, whatever the fuck. And I'm just like, ugh. And she walks over and she opens the curtains to the bedroom. And I'm going, ugh, and she's looking outside and she's like, why are there ducks and like ducklings behind, like, why are there ducks out there? I said, you gotta be mistaken. There's no way in our neighbor's yard you are seeing a duck and like 7 ducklings. That's never, we've been here for 30 years. There has not been a single fucking instance of a duck and ducklings. There's no water. Why in the fuck would there be a duck with ducklings? There is not a lake for a lot, like kilometers. Like you gotta go distances to get there. And she was like, well, I'm pretty sure it's a duck. And so I finally climbed my ass out of bed. This was enough to get me out of bed in the morning. And I look out the window and fuck me. if it wasn't a fucking duck with like 7 or 8 ducklings behind it walking across our front yard. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Where are they possibly gonna go? They've got at least 1.5 kilometers if they survived walking along a fucking roadway, minimum, to get to anything resembling a body of water big enough for ducks. And then my next question was, but which body of water did they come from?
Yeah.
I've been all over this place. I know every body of water. You literally are going through kilometers. If you're doing it from the woods, it's kilometers, like plural. And if you were from somewhere else, how the fuck they survived this far, I don't know. But my first thought was, oh Jesus, there's like 5 outdoor cats on this end of the street. I was like, these ducklings ain't making it out of this place alive. There's no fucking shot. And it was like, oh, can we get them in the car and try driving? I was like, what kind of movie do you think we're living in right now? We ain't the SPCA. We ain't Dr. Doolittle. You don't just walk outside and like scurry the ducks into a fucking like container and walk them to the, or drive them to the closest lake. But I looked out my back porch and sure as shit, my next door neighbor's cat sitting out, and they're seeing them. And the cat's doing the whole, it's gotten down, and it's slinking down the stairs. And I was like, oh, hell no. So I like ran down the stairs and kicked the door open, got outside, ran around the side of the house. I stood there, the cat stopped, the cat was like, oh, shit. And I was like, you get your fucking fat ass back up those stairs. And I snapped at it. Cat ran back up the stairs. Ducks managed to get across in the neighbor's yard underneath the fence somehow. They're made of liquid. And I don't know where the fuck they are now. But I wish them all the best because they've got a journey. That is like some Moses trying to cross the desert type shit. Whatever the fuck. Lost in there for 40 years. That duck has got some work to get all those ducklings to wherever the shit they're going, and I wish them all the best. But that was my morning and my week. This is the highlight of my week. That's where my life is at. Ducklings and ducks in the front yard. Highlight of the week. Mr. Miogs with a meme coming in super chat. 6969. Thank you, Mr. Miyagi. Always with the 6969. God bless. But why don't we talk about some video games, Mr. Black? We can't just talk about ducklings all day.
Why not?
We should probably talk about some games.
All right.
It doesn't happen very often. And I'm only bringing it up because we jokingly talked about it a couple of times in the last couple of podcasts. But when it does, I gotta talk about it. Gollum. Yes, that Gollum. Lord of the Rings Gollum. There's only really one, but yes, that Gollum. There's a game being based, that was made based on Gollum. I've known about it for a long time. It was, I wouldn't call it high profile, but it did get a fair amount of press, fair amount of shine, what have you, for quite some time. And so a lot of people were kind of excited about it because it didn't look terrible. It was like the concept was kind of like a stealth action-y type situation. Gollum doesn't want to be seen, so clearly that's an easy kind of a setup for a stealth type game. And so that was like the whole concept. And people were looking forward to it. Unfortunately, oh boy, she's out, the embargo is lifted, and Gollum needed to go climb back into that fucking cave. That shit ain't done yet. Shit's fucking terrible. Oh my god. Everyone is shitting on this in glorious ways, but perhaps the most important way of all, as I've said, maybe you'll remember, Mr. Black, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is actually the worst number that a game can be given if it's not a 0? Because it's not 0.
2.
It's a fucking 2. It's not a 1, it's not a 0, 3. You have to try really hard to piss off a reviewer enough for them to take the time to give you a 2, and by God, GameSpot gave it a 2 out of 10! Pain! Everyone's saying clearly the worst game they've played of the entire year, just completely getting shit. And of course, there are tons of games that are worse than this. The problem is that they're not based on a major intellectual property, and those games weren't advertised quite as heavily. So unfortunately for Gollum, it was a high enough profile situation that a lot of people were sent review copies. The publications all had to run reviews for it. And it's getting fucking roasted alive. Just brutal. I don't know what the current Metacritic is at. It might be 4 if they're lucky. I haven't looked. I meant to look it up before, but it's bad. 2 out of 10. Godspeed.
I didn't even know it existed. I'm just looking at some gameplay footage right now.
Yeah, they've shown it off a few times. They showed it off at like Summer Game Fest and shit like that. Yeah, no, I know you wouldn't have seen it, but like as far as games getting press is concerned, it got what I would say average to slightly above average in a couple of instances in the last couple of years. And because of course it's based on the Lord of the Rings, so it's getting, you know, a little bit more shine. But my God, and it really didn't look that bad. Like in all the shit that we've seen, it looked like it was like, you know, it didn't look like it was going to be a banger. But I sure shit wasn't looking at a 2 out of 10. That's for sure. That is fucked up. So, Godspeed to all the developers. It's not your fault. It's probably somebody else's fault. It's probably management. Just take the paycheck and go home. It's a rough one. Better luck on the next game. Listen, Mr. Black, I'm still hopeful. However, Final Fantasy 16. Got another gameplay, well, got a major gameplay trailer released this week. I don't know if you saw that one, but
I did not know.
So it covered a lot more gameplay in there, and they showed it again at the Sony showcase, which we will be talking about here momentarily. But how do I say this? How do I put it? The combat does not look like. I'm not asking for turn-based necessarily anymore. Okay, I get that seems to be impossible. We can't ask for that. It doesn't exist. But this game, what I'm looking at combat-wise, looks like it's. I might like if I want to play something like that, it's Devil May Cry or Bayonetta. Except it will not be as good as Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, because those games are built specifically, that's it. They are honed to be that action, button mashy, combo string, fucking, that's what they do. Final Fantasy is not that shit. It's just fucking not. And I watched this trailer, and sure as shit, that is exactly what they turned it into. They've been kind of like skirting that since Final Fantasy 15. I can't remember if you played 15 or not. It's been too long now.
I mean, I bought it and played like a very tiny bit of
5 minutes of it.
Yeah.
So they were flirting with it. There was still a little bit of turn-based type shit in there, but in reality, they were getting closer and closer to full action combat, and it was bad. Some people thought Final Fantasy 15's combat was good. I think they were all fucking on meth. It was terrible. I beat the last boss pressing 2 buttons.
Oh,
I literally just cycled 2 buttons. I wish I still had the live stream. I don't know if we actually have it, but I'm pretty sure at one point, maybe I'm just inserting this into my mind, but I might have even held the controller up and just did the whole classic, like, look what I'm doing. Just fucking 2 buttons over and over again. I just dashed. I remember it was like I just dashed into the boss until he died. that was the end of the game. So, not, bless them, it's not really their thing. But, this is like their third, because now we have Final Fantasy VII Remake is also very much action combat. You'll definitely at least know that much. So this is an evolution of that even further, and now it's just, when I saw it, it's just Devil May Cry, it's Bayonetta, but not as good as Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, at least from what we've seen. And the other thing that kind of made me a bit concerned, not from like a quality perspective of how good the combat feels, but when you have these action combat, especially with some games, they have like, the characters have little quips that they throw in there based on what they're doing. Like the classic, like the Sonic, you're too slow, like that kind of shit. Okay, so in this trailer, as he's dodging this, like, what looks to be some troll, like, fucking thing or whatever, every time he dodges, he has 2 lines. Like, you're too slow and not this time, you're too slow and not, and he's cycling that every one, like, normally you're like, okay, every, like, 10th, 12th, 20th time I do this dodge, toss one of those bad boys in there. They went in there with the salt, and they just took the fucking top off instead of seasoning. They just dumped the whole, every dodge. Not this time, you're too slow. Not this time, you're too slow. Not this time. And I was like, oh, this game's gonna be like 80 hours. And we're gonna hear like 4 voice lines on fucking repeat for 80 hours. And so anyway, that was a little concerning. Everything else about the game looks great. I mean, visually, it looks, good. It's probably going to be very well written. It's literally Final Fantasy, Game of Thrones. They made the developers watch the entirety of Game of Thrones before they made this game. So if that gives you an idea of where they're heading, there you have it. Hopefully they just don't end the game in pitch darkness and then blame your televisions at the end. Otherwise, it's Final Fantasy, Game of Thrones. And so, it's Yoshi P. So I'm still holding out hope. But those two things didn't instill a lot of confidence in me for my tastes. There are probably a lot of people out there that are huge Devil May Cry or Bayonetta fans that are looking at it that are also Final Fantasy fans going, fuck yeah, you're giving me Bayonetta fucking combat inside of Final, yeah, fuck yeah. But nah, not for me. But I'll I'm gonna play it anyway. I have no choice. I have to play it, so I'm gonna give her a go. And I'll eventually have more ideas on how it is when it comes out. But those were just a little bit concerning. Nevertheless, moving on. Sony had their showcase. And this was a pretty big one, Mr. Black, because I don't know if you'll remember this, but they didn't have one of these last year. They went like the entirety of 2022, radio silence. Nothing. And part of that, or that was part of why for a time in 2022, people were still a bit bullish on Microsoft being able to pull off some shit.
Yeah.
Because Sony was just, they were just coasting. Because to a degree, can you blame them? It's not like they had a hell of a lot of competition. So why would you put all of your shit out there in 2022 for a bunch of games that are probably only a quarter of the way into development when you're up against somebody that's still figuring out how to operate a doorknob? So like, why would you bother doing that shit? So 2022 goes on, nothing. That pissed off the Sony boys a bit, but then, God of War comes out and everyone's fondling fucking Jim Ryan's nuts again, and it's all okay. But now we got a couple more months deep, and people are going, where's Silent Hill 2? We found out that's, exclusively, where's Silent Hill 2? Where's the update on the Last of Us multiplayer game that they've got going on? Where are all these other exclusives we've heard about, but we haven't seen anything in a long time? They want to know. They want to, they want to get their hands on something. And so finally they announced that showcase, and here's the showcase. And we watched it yesterday on my stream. And I got to say, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was a pretty solid show. It was a lot of third-party games, meaning not games that are going to necessarily be exclusive to the PlayStation. But you know what? Basically every game they showed, whether it was an exclusive or not, I was like, fuck me, gaming is looking fucking, we're eating right now. Shit is looking fucking good. Whether it was indie games or otherwise, everything was hitting. I was like, Jesus, this is fucking great. This is the best gaming's looking a hot minute. And then after the show was over, I go online and like everyone was like apocalyptic. And not just like the fans, like the console war, fucking whatever the fuck. I'm talking like, industry people were like, that was fucking terrible. And I was, did we watch the same show? I know it wasn't just an hour of straight PlayStation exclusive titles. But did we watch the same fucking show? That was a pretty good fucking show. So anyway, I'll go into a little bit of what we saw. And then we can talk about it a little bit there. But I think what's important to note is that, or one of the things is that a lot of the games they showed being third party, Microsoft, their Twitter account, I'm sure other social media accounts as well that I'm not part of, they put up a post and were like, hey, nice games. Thumbs up. And then they showed like all the games also that they're also coming to Xbox. And I was like, listen.
Microsoft did that?
Yeah, that was their social media. I like it, but you know what? It's nice, but you know what? I think Sony still wins that. You know why? Because it's the entire showcase, and everyone whose eyeballs watched that showcase just saw a bunch of games that were never announced before, even if they are third party, being announced during the PlayStation showcase. Not during the Xbox showcase 3 weeks from now. Sony's showcase. So the first first association for everyone is going Sony. And then if Microsoft does show, let's say, those 9 games also in their showcase in 3 weeks, it's going to make Microsoft look like what else do you got? We already know these games exist. We've already seen them. Yeah, they're third party. Show me the exclusives. Congratulations, you're getting the same shit Sony has showed us last month. What else you got?
Oh, I mean, what happens though if Xbox goes, shows off the third party stuff real quick and be like, yeah, but we know you've already seen those. So,
but have you seen Starfield?
So, let's get that out the way, but let's show you the exclusives because that's what you guys really want to see. And then they just start hammering out exclusives. Boom, 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 boom.
If they've got it, awesome. Do I think that that's what they've got?
No.
No.
They got Starfield.
I think they've got these 9 games that Sony just announced and Starfield. I think that's what they've got. And maybe 1 or 2 others that are like Xbox exclusives but are like 4 years away in development. Like they'll bring out Fable and be like, "Hey guys, remember we told you Fable's being made?" Like something like that. But yeah, I mean, and I hope they have it because this is just Sony again. They showed off some stuff, but this is like a rug pull for Microsoft, right? Because Microsoft is down bad right now. All the press down bad on Microsoft. They're all everyone's down their throat. It's almost all entirely negative press. Sony doesn't have to do anything because they're winning so fucking hard right now. They're breaking records every second fucking Tuesday. And they come out and they show this showcase where they show off basically two exclusives, which I'll get to in a moment here. And then the rest of them third-party stuff, but stuff that hadn't been announced yet, to jump the gun a few weeks ahead of Microsoft and just be like, "Gotcha, bitch!" Rug pull. And now Microsoft's out there like, "God damn, we can't even get that shit going? Jesus, we got, like, what do we find something? We gotta fill this fucking showcase up with." So, what did they have? Well, they did have a new IP in there called Phantom Blade Zero, which is the name of a game I came up with when I was 8 years old in my mother's basement trying to pitch video games to the greater world. That might be the most generic ass fucking video game name I've heard in a hot minute. Phantom Blade Zero. Edgy as shit. That is some early 2000s shit right there. That was shown off, which looks to be the next Soulsborne entry into the market, Mr. Black. Closer to Sekiro than Souls. But it's like if you took Sekiro, but you put the combat speed of Bloodborne. That's what it looks like. And then everything's gray. Color doesn't fucking exist in these worlds. It's gray and brown. Everything's just gray and brown. So visually, it's another Soulsborne game where everything's like depressing and gray and fucking brown, but that's what it is. So they showed that off, and we'll have to wait for more on that because it is what it is, like the first showing. They also showed, like I said, a lot of third-party stuff that won't be exclusive. Some of the big ones, for example, probably the biggest one that a lot of people are talking about right now are Bungie's new game, because Bungie announced they were working on a new game outside of Destiny. And so everyone's question was, when are we going to see whatever that game is? And we got to see it at this Sony event, even though, again, it's third party and it will be on multiple platforms. So that game is Marathon, which is a reboot-ish, because it's not called Marathon, colon something else, of their more or less first real property from back in the 90s. Marathon was another shooter that they ran back in the 90s. And so when Marathon came up, and the trailer was pretty slick, looked kind of interesting, had attention, Marathon splashed across the screen, a bunch of elder millennials were like, "Fuck yeah!" And then everyone else said, "What the fuck is Marathon?" And that was that. But it is an extraction shooter, apparently, and one of the next, games as a service, live service type games. So an extraction shooter, if you're asking me, Adam, what the fuck is that? What does that mean? It's Tarkov. Tarkov would be an extraction shooter. It might not mean that that's exactly what the game is, and not necessarily to think that it is, but an extraction, you're going in, you're collecting something, and with the goal of extracting, of getting out, and not just going in and killing everyone, and then the game ends. So it's a bit of a different mechanic. It's not necessarily a battle royale or anything like that. It's a different subgenre if you will. And so that's what it is. As soon as people found that out, they were kind of a little bit more lukewarm on it, especially the people that knew about Marathon already. They were kind of disappointed that they were taking an old IP that had a certain genre associated with it and just kind of borrowing the name and then putting it in an extraction shooter. But it's still early days. We got a lot more to wait to see what that looks like. But they did show that off, and so that was kind of cool to see. They also showed off, Dragon's Dogma 2. That got a lot of people excited. Dragon's Dogma 1 is definitely a cult classic. A lot of people say that it is in some ways even better than the Souls series, and to a degree might have even inspired a lot of the Souls series. And so a lot of people were waiting for Dragon's Dogma 2, and we got to see a little bit of that, and it was looking pretty good. Alan Wake 2, one of the 3 video games Jeff will play in the next 25 years, was also shown off at this event. And I had to put a little side note here. In the trailer that they showed for Alan Wake, they cut to a couple different characters, of course, during the trailer, and one of the characters in the trailer was dead-ass Max Payne. It was Sam Lake, who is the creative director of Remedy, which is who Max Payne's face is modeled after, the original games. That's Sam Lake. And he was just dead ass in the game. He didn't say anything, but he was there. And I looked at it and I went, I said, is that Max Payne up in my fucking Alan Wake? And so there were already people theorizing, does Max Payne's universe and Alan Wake's universe, do they kind of fucking, they're both kind of a psychological action thrillery type situation, and so people were theorizing, but there's never been confirmation, so they know what they're doing. They're stirring the fucking shit. They're throwing that out there. But yeah, anyway, it was just kind of funny to see Max Payne's face just show up in the middle of that trailer. We also got to see Assassin's Creed Mirage, which I gotta be honest, if you liked Assassin's Creed 1 and 2, this one you might give a fuck. It's kind of what it, because it is old Assassin's Creed. It is not the new age, open world RPG shit that they did with Odyssey and whatnot. It's not that. It is very much, we're going back to the core mechanics of Assassin's Creed, which got a lot of people excited. Hopefully it's not, a broken pile of dog water when it comes out, but it did look pretty good. It had some great voiceover and whatnot in the trailer. And we saw mostly gameplay, just, cut up to look like a trailer, but it was mostly gameplay, so it was nice to see. We also saw Talos Principle 2, which was also a neat little entry for sure. That's the sequel to the Talos Principle, of course, which was for a time quite popular on Twitch because it was a puzzle game that a lot of people got into playing on the platform, and especially, I believe, Mr. Day9 really enjoyed and popularized Talos Principle early on, if I'm not mistaken. So we're getting a second one of that. And there were some others, but those were kind of the highlights of the third party that were shown off there. They then moved on and they showed off. Although I will say, sorry, I almost missed something here with the indie games. So, like I said before, there were a number of really cool indie games in there, and one of them I have to mention, Sword of the Sea, which is the next game from the people that made Journey, which is one of my favorite games of all time and one of my highest rated games I've ever personally reviewed, and it looked pretty badass. It's like they looked at Journey and said, what if we did that, but then we added 1080 snowboarding on a sword? And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm along for whatever the fuck that is, and I saw the trailer, and yeah, fuck me, I'm in. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. Hoping that's gonna turn out really well, and we did see some other great indie titles in there, and really there were no, like I said, there was no real major, I would say probably the lowest one. I can't remember the name of it now, but it was actually, if somebody said, all right, so Splatoon is really popular. What if we made Splatoon, but for everything that's not Nintendo products? And so they did, and it's a foam party instead of ink, it's foam. Like somebody took LSD and then went to a nightclub where they did the foam parties. Didn't Bubbles Mansion used to do foam parties? Or am I thinking of one of the other clubs in Halifax used to do the foam parties all the time? I think it was Bubbles Mansion. Do you remember which one used to do that back in the day?
I think it was Bubbles Mansion.
I think it was Bubbles, which makes sense. The name of the fucking place is Bubbles, you know, but that was
I'm pretty sure it was Bubbles Mansion.
I'm pretty sure. But either way, it's like somebody went to one of those and said, let's make a video game about that shit. And so it's basically Splatoon, but with foam and bubbles instead. And it looked like, the whole thing looked like it was running in like 540p for whatever reason. I have no idea why. But that was probably the only low point. Every other game shown off, I was like, yes, these are good games. I like all of these games. Thank you. Then they snuck in a subversive announcement, Mr. Black. A little switcheroo in this trailer that ended up being a remaster of Metal Gear Solid 3. So that was rumored for a bit that they were going to be tackling that and eventually coming out with it. And so this is the official announcement. So Metal Gear Solid 3, which is called Metal Gear Solid Delta.
Wasn't it called Snake Eater before?
Yes, yeah, Snake Eater. And the tip-off in the trailer, because it was one of those trailers when it first started, I said, guys, this is like a fucking, this is like a life insurance commercial or some shit where they're just going to show you completely irrelevant like whatever the fuck, just random shit. And then at the last second, at the end of the commercial, they're going to be like, and that's why I bought such and such life insurance. Like, this is exactly how the whole trailer was going. And the switching point in the trailer was a snake got eaten by another animal, and it was like, all right, is this what I think it is? And sure as shit, here comes fucking, I think, what is it, naked snake in that one, which is like the fucking the student or whatever for actual
I don't
snake.
Remember.
I don't remember. Anyway, Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta or whatever the fuck you want to call it is coming, and that's a full remake. Like a full top to down, top to bottom, kind of similar to, I believe, Resident Evil 2, from what I've gathered. And then they also announced a collection of the first 3 titles in a master collection, they're calling it, that's coming out this fall as well. And so, with no announcements, I don't think of the platforms or whatnot, but it's safe to say, PlayStation.
Yeah.
Beyond that, we did finally, I looked into it later, people were wondering, well, who's actually developing this? Because Kojima ain't there anymore. Kojima's not part of Konami, so who is developing this remake? And they let on that it was Konami themselves in partnership with another studio, but we'll have to see how they do now that the owner, operator, and creator of that franchise, how they do without him. Although in fairness, they had the blueprint. It's the fucking video games right there. If they fuck that up, they're just bad. Project Q, which we talked about on the podcast before. Jeff was so bullish about Project Q. So we talked about it. We hadn't seen it yet, but just go ahead and Google it real quick so you can see it. It is one of the dumbest looking products I've ever seen in my life. If you took this fucking DualShock, whatever the fuck, and cut it in half, and then glued it on the side of like an LCD screen, that's literally what it looks like. There's no real form factor to it. It's just like, take a controller, cut it in half, super glue to the sides, and like, fuck yeah, that's a product. So, Project Q is a 8-inch screen with the controller built in and designed to stream your games that you own on the PlayStation to it when you're not able to play at the TV. Somebody else got the TV, well, you can use that.
This is budget Switch, and budget. It looks like ass.
But do you think it's going to be budget? Like, what is the absolute ceiling for this product, Mr. Black, for MSRP? Like, how do you sell this to people? What is the price?
Sadly, I think this thing is gonna. I mean, it comes with these. Does it come with these earbuds, or do you got to buy these?
No,
things
those
separate?
are separate products. So that was something else I was going to say. The Sony earbuds are like a totally different product, kind of a situation. Maybe they'll bundle them, though. That's possible that they'll do a bundle. Like, it wouldn't shock me. But those are separate, and I suspect that those earbuds are to like bring the 3D audio stuff that the PlayStation 5 has to earbuds.
I don't know. They didn't give a price?
Not yet. Which is usually a good sign that they're waiting to see what the internet reacts to, to see what, get to feel the water out, get to test the market a bit.
Probably gonna be $199.
That's what I'm thinking. $199.
$199. It can't be any higher than that.
Bro, that's so much money.
And that's even because I'm just thinking, like, if a regular controller is costing you, say, $60,
yeah,
right? Yeah, and that's like US. Like, I'm sure if I went to Walmart and tried to buy a PS5 controller, it's going to be like $79.99 or some shit. All right. Like, actually, I want to know. Walmart.ca. Let me see here. PS5 controller. Charging stations. PS5 controller. All right. Amazon it is. Amazon.ca.
Pretty bad if you can't go to any retailer and type in PS5 controller and have it surface, that search engine is fucking terrible.
It's pretty fucking bad. Okay, so a PS5 controller.
Yeah.
Like a DualSense regular white ass controller is 89 Canadian dollars.
Holy shit!
It's $89.
What?
Yeah.
Bro, I got two of these things. I'm putting them away in a vault for my child's education.
Dude, that's white. If you want any other color, like if you want a different color,
it doesn't go to like 94.
It goes to $94.
Oh my god!
So they charge you an extra $5 just to dip that bitch in a different color. So yeah. So anyway, $89 for regular controller. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be $229. Seriously,
man.
It's either that or
man.
I mean, it might be $199, but like, is it only gonna charge you $100 for
the screen?
For the screen
and the tech in it to stream the shit?
Yeah. I mean, they might be making a lot of money off these earbuds because people are going to buy these earbuds if they got this portable shit, right? Because Sony ain't going to let you sync up your Apple iPods.
No.
It ain't going to be like that. You ain't going to be able to pair your Bluetooth shit that you got from, Best Buy.
I mean, maybe they should probably do that. They should probably do that.
They ain't going to. It's Sony. They ain't going to do that shit. All this proprietary bullshit. It's either the speakers on the thing is going to be dog shit, so they're pretty much going to force you to buy these. My gut is telling me it's going to be $199 US. So,
yes, yeah.
That'll be like $249 Canadian. Yeah, might even be $269, $279.
Can you imagine spending $259 on that?
The answer is no.
You can buy a Switch.
Yes.
For that. And that's an actual console.
Yes, we're talking a controller that then takes your game
and streams it.
It
doesn't even play it locally, bro. It's a streamed in thing, so it's going to look like cheeks.
Yeah.
Cheeks.
And you still got to be do you have to be near your console, or can you just take this anywhere?
That I don't know, but the odds of the internet connection being good enough.
It'll be a bit of a different story if you can take this controller around like a Switch and charge it and play your PS5 on your controller wherever you want on the go. But if you got to be near your PlayStation 5 and your PlayStation
has to be turned on,
or your PlayStation 5 has to be turned on, it's a dog shit product that nobody's asking for. But if you can take it, if you can take this thing onto the airplane, wherever the fuck you want to go, there might be a use case for specific people. For the masses, no.
So if it's remote, I really don't know enough because their bullet points weren't all that great, and I didn't go digging. Oh, I probably should have. But let's say that it's account based, so they know what games you actually have associated with your account, and those games are available to be streamed. Like some of them might be in that case. Like let's say some of them could be possible to be streamed from their servers to you. Some of them maybe can't be unless you're within the home or something because they're not on the service but can be streamed if your console is currently running. I don't really know, but yeah, you would hope that the absolute, you know, worst case scenario is that you can, if you have a strong enough Wi-Fi connection somewhere and it's account associated, that you can then just stream those games from their service and not have to, you know, be at home or some shit.
It's basically an 8-inch LCD screen with 2 halves of a DualSense grafted to each side. It will be able to play games from your PS5 at up to 180p and 60 frames over Wi-Fi via remote play.
Yes, yeah. So it's remote play. So
it's remote play.
So that just sounds like
it's
you
garbage!
have to be in the house.
It's garbage. It's garbage. It's garbage. It's dog shit. Like, if y'all want to go out there and spend, you know,
you got one TV in the house.
Who in the fuck? Okay, it's 2023. Who has one television in the house?
Let me tell you, for $269, I can go on Craigslist and find a 55-inch TV that some college kid is selling because they're done for the year or whatever. They're done their 4 years and they're trying to offload everything that they had in their dorm. There's a 55-inch TV that is perfectly fine. It's going to look a hell of a lot fucking better than what you're going to get on that. That if you're really having a hard time playing that game or your games because people are constantly wanting the TV, the wife, the kids, the whatever, you could spend $269, $200 and find a TV and just be done. Just be done.
For sure. And like, God only knows, like, what's the battery life on this thing? How long does it really last? Like,
that's a good question.
You know, because are you going to only be able to play this thing for 2 hours before you got to plug it into something? Next thing you know, you're sitting,
if it rumbles or if it has like force feedback triggers and stuff, the battery life is going to be.
Well, you know what's going to happen? It's going to have like an economic mode where like the screen isn't as bright and maybe the rumble doesn't happen and you'll be able to get like maybe 5 hours of play. But if you have it all juiced up to the nines, especially when you get the Bluetooth headphones and everything is connected to it, what, 2 hours?
Yeah, I have to imagine that they're going to make it possible to play outside of your own home, clearly. Like, it has to be account based and shit.
Can you play now, this could be decent. Can you play 2 different games at once? So can somebody be playing the PlayStation 5 on the television? Like, say you've got 2 kids and they're fighting over the console. Okay, you go ahead, you play it on the TV. Here's the portable version, and now you can load up another game playing that at the same time. Maybe there's a use case for that. Outside of that, I do not see the value here at all. In fact, I think it's fucking stupid. It's going to fail horribly.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so it's remote play. So it does require your console to be turned on or at least in rest mode so that it can be connected to, like the service can connect to it. So if you're somebody like me that never fucking lets their console be in rest mode, it's full off all the time. But for most people, they just turn their shit off normally, and that means that it's in rest mode. It's not actually all the way turned off. Then you sign into your account, and then it's just you're playing over Wi-Fi. You know, the games, your PlayStation would, I guess, theoretically then fully boot up to then send, you know, to be able to make it do the thing. But
yeah, but can you play something on the console and then play something different on the because you know that's kind of that's kind of a cool feature if you can. I'll give it that.
At least for the PS4 you couldn't, and I'm assuming with the PS5 you can't.
I don't know. Anyway, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It looks like the fucking Wii U tablet. That's what it looks like. Just Sony.
Kind of no matter how you slice it, it's kind of a tough sell. Like on the Xbox side, they're not putting a product like that. Maybe they will. If this one does well, miraculously, I can't imagine it will. But maybe I'm wrong and it will. But like Xbox doesn't do any of that shit. They're like, no, but you can just like your phone. Just use your phone. You already have this.
Yeah.
So just sign in and just stream to this.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is already done. This is a $1,200 to $1,400 device.
Yep.
you already have this, just play with this. And there are other devices that do the same, but we're getting a lot of other ones that are doing it too. So this whole market is going to get.
Can't you already do that with your phone as it is? Like, can't you already stream your PlayStation stuff onto your phone as it is? And like, don't they?
Possibly?
Isn't there like an actual? I thought that there was an actual controller out there that is very similar to the PlayStation that you can clip your phone into it, and it's like a joystick.
Well, you can do that with controllers, yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. It just seems
it does look okay. Hold on. This just tells me, like, I gotta be honest, guys. I'll just take the fall. I don't know anything about this because they do a really fucking terrible job marketing this. Like, the whole remote play stuff is just horribly fucking marketed. Using the PS Remote Play app, you can control your PlayStation 5 console or PS4 console from a mobile phone or tablet. I'm assuming there's probably a list of that are compatible to do so. Check that your device meets the requirements and then follow the steps. And then you can pair your DualSense or DualShock controllers to your phone, I'm assuming via Bluetooth, so that you can use it. Now you'd want to come up with a thing to dock the phone to the top of the controller or some shit, so you're doing one of these fucking jobbies.
From what I'm told, or from what I've seen actually, is
there are third-party ones
you can buy. Exactly, you can kind of clamp together on your phone and play.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So it's like they're making you pay potentially hundreds of dollars for something that you already can do.
A slightly bigger screen.
A bigger screen and a legit controller that's already molded into the device.
Yeah. But I think for me, I'd rather just use my phone and then buy the separate thing, so that I'm only adding the bulk of the collapsible, controller to a backpack.
Yeah.
Instead of a full 8-inch fucking screen. Because these are big enough as it is. I don't even like taking this around a lot of the time. It's just my hands are so fucking big. If I bought a smaller phone, it's a nightmare. So this is 6 inches and change. So you're getting a 2 inches corner to corner bigger, which is sizable. You're not gonna fucking put that even without the controller. Good luck getting that in a pocket. It's just not gonna happen. So that plus a controller that can't be taken off the sides, or maybe it can, but it doesn't look like you can take it off the sides. So I'd rather the option to be able to just use my phone with the two and bada bing. So this seems like this is filling like a niche within a niche within a niche within a niche. Yeah, it's like a Russian nested doll. And so we'll have to see just how many of these things they fucking sell. I can't imagine they're selling a lot, especially because, like we said, and I agree, it's probably going to come out $199 US, maybe even $229 US, which in Canada just means nobody's buying it.
No, it's just not gonna happen. I'm sorry. It's not going to fly.
So other than that, just to briefly, again, they did the earbud thing. I'm assuming that they didn't mention a price. It's probably going to be $99. If I had to take a guess, probably $99 for those. Yep. They're touting low latency, lossless audio, probably going to do the thing with the 3D audio with the PlayStation 5 has, so that you can pair it with this kind of a situation, or you can pair it with maybe it ends up being a small upgrade to the PSVR experience, or just for use in general, whatever the fuck. So we'll have to wait and see just how they turn out, but I expect they're probably going to be about $100, maybe even more if they're feeling spicy. And then lastly, they wrapped it all up with a long gameplay showing, arguably too long. I feel like they were showing too much almost. It was like you're watching the trailers for movies these days and you feel like you've seen the whole goddamn movie. It kind of felt like that. They showed so much that without cutting out certain moments, it was all very hype and it all looked amazing. But Spider-Man 2, and no shocker there, it looked fucking good. They make good games and continue to make very good games, and it looked fantastic. So lots of people obviously clearly excited about that. They showed off that Lizard is in there as a bad guy, as well as. What's his name?
Venom?
Craven or whatever. Craven. As the another bad guy, and then of course Venom. Well, this is like Peter's spider, so there's Peter and Miles in this.
Yeah.
Peter's spider is the Venom juiced version of it, which makes me think perhaps at some point you're going to end up having Miles fighting Peter. When Venom is getting too close to taking over. Instead of being a help, it becomes a hindrance, kind of a situation. And so, yeah, there's a lot that Spider-Man fans were pretty fucking juiced about and excited for, and I don't blame them. There are not a lot of superhero games that are really fucking good. Spider-Man is kind of like the top of all of those, and this is a much anticipated one that continues to look great. It definitely makes me interested in how that Wolverine one is going to turn out when we eventually see more of that in the future. And that was their whole shtick. So it doesn't sound bad, does it? Like as a whole, doesn't sound terrible. And there's lots of stuff that happened that I didn't talk about, and none of it really looked bad. But I feel like people's expectations, they're just
I think some of it too might have been because of what Microsoft did. You know,
what do you mean?
With the tweet where they're like,
afterwards. Oh, that definitely doesn't help.
You know, that might have fueled up, you know, some of the fanboys to be like, I ain't impressed. Like, what do you got?
True.
You know what I mean? So, you know, throwing a little bit of shade, letting the fans go over there and do the work. It's like the No Pixel special. And it's like, you know, you just go over there and throw a bit of shade, and the fanboys and fangirls will do a lot of the spitting of the venom. Pardon the Spider-Man 2 pun, but hey. From I didn't watch it, so like from the news that you're giving me, I would say it's like
I would say C+.
I would say it's just above mid.
Yeah, it's like a C+.
Like, yeah, I can't really get too excited about remakes, and you know, obviously I'm excited about Alan Wake 2. Assassin's Creed fans are gonna, you know, get some of the OG stuff, so that's great for Assassin's Creed fans. Outside of that, it's not.
They like really, the criticism is they could have showed more first party
titles. Yeah. If they did, you know, if they had some shit there for like another Last of Us or a teaser for, you know, God of War or some shit. Like I don't know.
Well, they've got, like I mentioned earlier, they've got a couple that we know about, but they just haven't shown anything in a long time. And so people were, I think that was part of it. The expectation was we didn't see anything in 2022. This is where we're going to get at least one or two of these are going to make a showing, and they just didn't. And so that's, I think, where some of the disappointment's coming from, for sure. But just as a gamer, so not a PlayStation fan, but just as a gamer, because these are all third party, there's going to be a lot of people playing some fucking good ass games in the next like 2 years. A lot of good shit here, and a lot of reasons to be excited about gaming, because it wasn't just like an hour of live service games or other shit like that, which is pretty much what we've been living off of for a while in terms of major announcements. So even though Bungie's thing was in there, that was to be expected. Bungie's just a live service developer now. Yeah. Everything that they make is going to be live service. But lots of good stuff in there. And it does make me, me excited for Microsoft, because now what do they do? Some of the stuff was clearly going to be in that showcase, almost guaranteed. Microsoft has some of this already lined up. So what are they going to do? What do they got? They got a few weeks. Do they conjure something up? Are they in the back rooms thinking, what's our counterpunch? What can we do here to kind of soften the blow? Because they jumped the gun on us a bit here and announced stuff that, it's coming to ours as well. But they got the first announcement. So what do we got? Do we got anything we can do? And so, I'll be very interested for sure, even more than I was before, to see what Microsoft can bring to the table. And I think a lot of people that are like me, that are watching all the stuff are waiting for this Microsoft event with bated breath, because it feels like, how do I say this? I was just talking about this yesterday. Microsoft, if you look at it on paper, is actually doing really well. They're selling more consoles than they ever had before, right? Now, mind you, you have to take into consideration that the market is fucking way bigger than it was during the 360 era. So, like, it just, like, orders of magnitude. So you can sell more consoles, but that doesn't mean that you're equally as successful or more successful than you were back then. So, but they're selling more than they ever have. They're making money. Like, they're in the green. Their Metacritic average scores are actually all quite high. But like Jeff and I said before, and Jeff had that great analogy, it's, this is the side dishes. It's the stuff that helps prop up the main course, the meat and potatoes of the meat's missing. All of the extra side dishes are there, but the meat's not on the table yet. And you're going, these are all delicious. I love me some fucking garlic mash, but I need more. I can't sustain myself on garlic mash forever. I can do it for a time, but at some point I need something else.
I need the meat.
I need the meat. And so, you know, that's where they're at right now. And I think it's very important that even when you're doing that, I think it's important to realize that, you know, some people will say, well, the internet's not a real place, which is true. But when it comes to video games and stuff, there is something to be said. Perception is reality. And the reality in this instance is that when it comes to video games, and I suspect for movies, this is probably also relatively true, is that even though the internet's not a real place, and there's only a subsection of people of the consumer base that interacts with this online discourse, or even propagates it, you know, is a content creator or things like that, or a consumer of it, or participates in these discussions and doesn't just read it. That group is small, but the power it has over the zeitgeist that can go and spread outside of the online community is quite powerful. So you have a bunch of, that's why the squeaky wheel gets the oil is like the saying that it is. It's like yes, it's like 4 people are going, but eventually that squeak, you're the person in the grocery store, and your wheel, that one fucking wheel is going like 8,000 different directions. It's going, and yeah, the other 3 are working and they've not said anything the whole time. They're being good wheels, but you're like, God damn it, shut up, fuck, and you'll finally pay attention to it and give it the oil. And so, like, if it wasn't important to placate all of these screaming, neckbeard, basement-dwelling degenerates that just do nothing but lose their shit online all the time, and I'm one of those people. If they wasn't for them, why would any of these companies ever do any of this? Like, every time I say, hey, there was a showcase, Jeff, you ever see anything about that? No! I know the answer! Jeff ain't seen none of that shit! Because Jeff represents way more of the market. Of people. Yeah. Way more of the market. But they still do it. So you have to ask the question, why? Why would they spend so much time, so much money, so much PR effort in this small space and not just canvas fucking television and YouTube fucking ad spots and shit and just leave it there where Jeff hangs out and all the other people hang out? It's because the perception is reality, and enough of these loud people that are talking over the people that aren't talking, that are satisfied, is going to eventually start to sway the people that are happy, and they go, wait a minute. I didn't think about it before, but you're fucking right. $250 for this piece of shit, are you serious? And so that's a problem. You have to fucking manage it. And so for Microsoft, they could be on paper. Phil can come out and say, oh, well, look at this chart and that chart. We're doing so well and we're selling big money and everything's fucking great and we're all in the green, and we flipped that shit around from the Xbox One, where it was like the anniversary of that was like this week. You know, the super cut. Did you see the tweet I retweeted? This is the super cut of the Xbox One reveal, and it's literally just TV, NFL, TV, NFL, TV, NFL, Call of Duty, NFL, TV. It was like 2 hours of that shit. They came a long way, it's true. But when Phil said, and I said this yesterday too on stream, I said, when Phil said, even though he prefaced it by saying in the short term, not a lot of people are going to fucking care that he mentioned that. When he came out and said, just making consistently high-end, AAA, successful, high-scoring games are going to solve the console selling problem. You can't put that out there, Phil! Because for me, what is it? It tells me you have, like, you can tell me now that you have faith in the product. I don't fucking believe you. I don't. And even if you have faith in the product, I think you have your faith in the wrong fucking place. Because at the end of the day, you have to be able to have games to sell a console or the service. And you have to control the narrative online to keep people fucking happy. And if you keep doing the shit that you guys have been doing and not hitting promises over and over again, then this is what you get. And you're right. But you know how do you fix that? With some good fucking goddamn video games, Phil. And not just
we're gonna find
the
out
side dishes.
pretty soon, right?
Not just the side dishes. Need some meat.
Hey, sides are great, okay? But only sides, it's just an incomplete meal. Sure, I can get full on it, but it's not satisfying. Unless it's just stuffing. I could eat like 3 bowls of stuffing. It's like comfort food, you know? Stuffing is like Call of Duty. You know, it's just like, all right, I can eat some stuffing. But then you realize after you're done eating all the stuffing, you just want something else. You want the meat. You want the turkey. And you can even have turkey. But there's got to be gravy. And it can't be dry. It just can't be dry. Nobody likes dry turkey. You know what dry turkey is? It's kind of Call of Duty.
So Call of Duty is both the stuffing and the dry turkey.
It's both the stuffing and you know what? It was Call of Duty was the turkey with gravy. Then it just became dry turkey. Now it's the stuffing.
It's slowly moving across the dinner table.
Pretty soon it'll turn into turnip.
Oh,
then I don't even.
And we
then
all
I don't
know
even eat it. I don't even eat it.
You don't even eat the turnip.
Skip.
Turnip stays on the table. Ain't nobody touching the turnip.
Ain't nobody touching the turnip, bro. Nobody but your grandparents.
Just to put an end on this, the last thought that I had was that what concerns me with how Phil's been positioning shit and what Microsoft is doing is that if that's the mindset he's going to have, but they're going to still go ahead and spend $70 billion to buy out this company, instead of spending $70 billion to put out, I don't know, $71 billion 10-year fucking timeline, massive video games. Give him 70. Sony ain't got 70, they've got like 7. The biggest projects we've ever seen are fucking like Destiny, 500 million, 10 years. Grand Theft Auto 5, like $250 million. Grand Theft Auto 6, probably $500 to $750 million. You're about to spend $70 billion on dead portfolios and memes. And even if you could, let's say, Call of Duty generates $2 billion a year in revenue. That ain't profit, that's revenue. Just think of how long it's going to take to fucking pay off $70 billion. And so what it tells me, what it signals to me is that this might not just be about buying it because it's got King and they can sell Candy Crush to fucking kids and fucking single moms and shit. They have it because it's almost at this point that they're not just buying themselves into a blue ocean situation with the streaming market, the cloud market, but they're also doing it to just stop other people from being able to have access to those games. That I have a problem with. Because if it's not about taking it so that you can actually do something with all this portfolio and you're willing to spend all that money, and then you're going to go out as a head of Xbox and say, just making good games isn't the solution in the short term, now I think your whole idea has nothing to do with fucking games at all.
Buy out the competition.
You're just buying out the competition.
Shelve it and force them to play the shit that you're putting out.
That's what it comes across as, Phil. So figure it out!
Fair.
This fucking Xbox thing better be fucking fire. But you know what else is fire, Mr. Black? The firewall and protections that we get from our sponsor. It's time for you to sell out.
Well, it's patreon.com/lagtv. Head on over there first and throw some money at the screen. We're getting close to Nova War Says. So if you guys want to go and support, I think we're like $300 away now, something like that. We're getting there. We're getting close. Head on over there. Show some love. If you can't afford it or you just don't want to, that's okay. Make sure to hit the like button here. Leave a comment. Support the StarCraft stuff that we do. And you can grab yourself a VPN. You can go over to nordvpn.com, nordvpn.com/OTT. Get yourself a massive discount plus 4 bonus months when you use that promo code. You can use it on your smartphone, your TV. I'm sure when PlayStation 5 comes out with their little portable thingy bobbers, you'll be able to, actually, I know you can. You'll be able to use the VPN onto your Wi-Fi connection, which will give you a encrypted, or I guess a different server and an IP to be on so that you're not using your home one, can travel. So if you're abroad, if you're visiting parents, or you're at an apartment building and you're using someone's Wi-Fi, whatever the case may be, you don't want them to have access to your personal information and stuff like that, because you never know. These cyber thieves are all over the place. All right, it's 2023. Real crime doesn't happen in brick and mortar anymore, unless you live in the States and people are like running inside Walmart and just grabbing a whole bunch of stuff and running out and giving 0 Fs. 99% of it happens online. And you need to protect yourself. NordVPN got you covered. With a 30-day money-back guarantee, there's pretty much no risk. Try it for 30 days. You don't like the service? Get your money back. No questions asked. Up to 6 simultaneous devices on one account. So you only need 1 account per household. Unless you're a small Filipino family, you might need 2. Well, that's okay. Then get yourself 2. It's all good. You know why? Because it's less than the half a cup of coffee a month. It's a few dollars a month. That's it. Did I mention it's only a few dollars a month? And you support Lag TV, the sponsor that supports Lag TV, and yourself. Watch different regions of Netflix at the click of a button by masking your IP so that you have a whole new wide range of TV shows and movies for those specific regions that you're connecting to. And anybody can use this service. It's a click of a button. There's no programming needed. You don't need to be wearing bifocals and have a mechanical engineer degree. All right? No. Anybody can do it. I'm dumb as hell and I can use NordVPN. I just say, oh, I want to mask my IP to, I don't know, Detroit. Boom, done. I want to mask it to Australia. Boom, done. It's that easy. NordVPN.com/OTT. Check them out.
And now it's time for
Movies and TV.
Man, it is some dry turkey out here in the streets for movies and TV news this week, unfortunately, Mr. Black. We only got a couple of things of note. I'll move this up to the front, but we got an RIP this week. Well, a couple technically, because we also lost Miss Tina Turner, I believe it was this week. But we also lost this week Star Wars Thor and RRR actor Ray Stevenson, sadly having passed away at just 58 years of age. I haven't seen a cause of death yet. But yeah, just 58. Too fucking young.
Yeah, way too young.
Way too young. Yeah, so all the best to his family and friends during this hard time. And also, the only other thing that I spotted worth even mentioning briefly is that the Netflix whole thing about, not sharing accounts with other people anymore or whatnot, that whole deal that we talked about several times in the podcast, it eventually rolled through. Like, finally, Mom called me up the other day. It was like, I can't get my Netflix on the TV anymore. And I said, oh, well, it finally happened. Netflix is cracking down, Mom. Sorry, you're going to have to buy your own Netflix. Well, they came up with a semi-solution to this. I don't know just how much of a solution it is, but it is a solution. They're saying that for $7.99 USD, you can add a single external user to an account. So that's per user if you want. $8 per user US. If you're on the regular plan, and if you're on the super bougie premium plan.
That's the one I'm on, though. I'm on the bouge.
I'm on the bouge as well because 4K and all that.
Yeah.
But if you're on the bougie plan, then the bougie plan, that $8 gets you 2 extra users.
You want to know? I was just talking about this on stream this morning.
Oh.
You want to know what the best subscription that I ever bought?
NordVPN hashtag promo code OTT.
Okay, you come. All right,
Second
you got
to
me
that.
there. Second to that. You know what's the best? And this ain't a plug, even though it kind of is. It's just a natural plug. YouTube Premium.
Word?
Bruh.
Even in Canada?
Bruh.
Because in the States, like everything, their fucking subscriptions are crazy.
Bruh.
All right, pitch me.
I'm pissed at myself.
Pitch me!
For not having this for the last decade, or it hasn't been out for a decade, but, for the last however many years it's been a thing. So the number one thing that I get, and they ain't paying me to say this. This is just me enjoying
it's YouTube. You know damn well they ain't paying us to say shit.
They ain't paying us to say shit. Them YouTube paychecks, barely enough to cover the subscription. All right. But first thing is no YouTube ads. So
I mean that by itself.
I mean, bruh. Especially like if you're just listening to music, like how many times have you been listening to music and then in the middle of the fucking song, YouTube ads come up? It's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Not even Spotify did that shit.
Yeah. So YouTube, no ads. The big one for me, besides ads, because it's actually they're both equal. The other one is it's the phone. It's the fact that you can have YouTube running on your phone.
Oh, and minimize the video.
Closed up. Closed like this. Black screen. Nothing on there. You can...
it's the audio only feature.
Yep, you can have the audio only. I understand that there are apps out there that you can like bypass that, but then you still you gotta like program, you gotta like use the links and put it through it's a pain in the fucking ass. But the fact that I can literally have my phone off in this mode and listen, and I can use other stuff. So I can have Discord on my phone. I can be playing a video game. I could be doing whatever the fuck, and the YouTube shit is just running in the background. It's God tier. It's and with no ads on top of it, it's God tier.
Imagine how unhinged it is, though, that they know that is such a wanted feature that like every
they
other
charge
app,
you for it.
Every other app, it just has it, and YouTube's like, nah, you paying for that shit.
And it pisses me off that they kind of do that, but at the same time, I'm telling you, it is so. I gotta respect the hustle, and it is. I'm on YouTube so much more now because like, it's so good, especially when I'm driving my car. I can just plug my phone in or use the Bluetooth, have that shit mounted up, and the shit can just run.
Because my solution, like I watch a bunch of like long form content if I'm going to or from to pick up M from work or whatnot. Because the radio, if I hear Ed Sheeran,
got time for that.
If I hear Ed Sheeran one more time, I'm a fucking Ed Sheeran myself. I don't even know what that means, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Okay. So, nobody knows, but it's provocative. So like my solution is I boot up YouTube. I have a video on, and I'll like go in and I'll go to advanced and I'll play it at 144p. So that I'm using the lowest amount of bandwidth because I'm only listening. I'm not watching the fucking. I'm in a car, so I stick it in my like cup holder so that it amplifies the fucking the sound from the phone, and then like that's what I do. But I still get ads because I ain't out here. I ain't bougieing up with fucking YouTube Premium yet.
It's so worth. Say it's better than Netflix. It's better than It's better than Mall. It's so worth. It's like, oh my god, what have I been doing with my life? This is how the YouTube app should be. So yeah. So anyway, I've been enjoying that now for just over a month. And holy shit! And what I did, because it was like an extra payment a month, and shit's adding up, man. It's fucking nuts. I went into my PayPal for like the first time in forever, and I looked at all my reoccurring shit, bro. I axed out like at least $700 a year worth of shit. Just gone.
Dude,
gone.
Going through
shit
PayPal is fucking wild, bro.
Oh my fuck.
There's shit that gets recurring payments and you don't get notifications for it. It's how they get you with this shit.
And
bro.
I got it on everything, dude. I got it for like, like Microsoft. I got it for Adobe. I got it for I had RuneScape still going in the background. I had shit streaming services like SoundCloud and fucking I mean, I was like, whoa, I'm getting skamazed out here. I forgot I had these things. So anyway, I got rid of like 7 different reoccurring payments. Some of them were yearly, some of them were monthly.
Yeah.
And then I got me my YouTube one, and it's been incredible.
Smooth sailing. So you use YouTube Music very much?
In there. No, I never use YouTube Music.
Because I think that's like the one thing that would convince me is if I could get away from Spotify, because I don't want to pay for Spotify and YouTube Premium at the same time. So if I can get everything that I can get out of YouTube Premiums, like this, so for YouTube Music, with that and get away, then I can cancel my Spotify account. Then that's
but the thing is like switch. I don't listen to enough music. I know there's like diehard Spotify people that just like, even when I'm on Discord, it's like they're listening to Spotify. I don't really listen to too much music, but when I do, I know exactly what I listen to, and I just search it on YouTube, and I'm just playing it on my phone. And I have like, if I'm working out at home, I've got like Bluetooth speakers. You know what I mean? I can hook it up to the house audio. I don't need a Spotify. I never had a Spotify account, or subscription. But anyway, Adam, if I had to put a stamp of approval on one thing,
damn,
it's and it's painful for me to say it, but you want to know what else is painful for me to say?
Okay, what's that?
That Fast X didn't suck.
Oh no, right? I forgot to put that in here to ask you about Fast X.
Fast X didn't suck. Okay, so here's the quick summary. And that's saying a lot,
because you were down. You were just all over the last like couple of Fast and the Furious films.
I fucking hated Fast 8 and Fast 9. I shouldn't say I hated it, but I was just like, no, this is not it. This is so dumb. Okay, so is the movie a great movie? Hell no. Is it a good movie? Hell no. Is it a good or a great Fast and Furious movie? I think so. I think they've done it.
Okay.
You know, I think they've done it. You know, some of the writing is really bad. Some just frivolous, dumb action for the sake of, like, everybody needs to have their moment, and you can just tell. It's like, okay, this is your fight scene, or this is your this, and you.
Well, it's becoming the Avengers, where they have so many fucking characters. Dude, it's just like it's
funny that you say that, because there was one scene in particular where I was like, it just seems as though they're just making a parody out of the Avengers at this point. Like, there are so many characters, Adam, and there's new ones. There's more characters, and we're not talking about one or two new characters. There's like 4 or 5 new characters in this movie.
Bro, you don't need no new characters at this point, except for the bad guy.
Some are good, some are bad. You know, some are in between. They got just a little bit of everything, and then on top of that, they've got like they've got some returning characters that you haven't seen in quite some time. But you know, and the way the movie ends, bro. The way the movie ends is unlike any Fast movie ever, because you know you're getting at least one more part. They're trying to do 3, but I don't know. We'll see how well this one does. It's not doing the best domestically, but worldwide it's doing well. Because, you know, China and everywhere just love
them some Fast and Furious movies.
They just love them Fast and Furious movies. But the way this movie ends, bro, it ends like they think it's fucking Empire Strikes Back. Like, the way this shit ends, it's like, dude, the way it ends is so abrupt. It's just like you're watching the movie and then it ends. And you're like, what the fuck? But on one end, you're like, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to know what happens next.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in. And then on the other hand, you're like, this is fucking Fast and the Furious. Why in the fuck are you ending your movie like this? There is no conclusion. This movie, there's no beginning, middle, and end. It's like beginning, middle, and then the movie ends. There's no like payoff. There's so many unanswered things. There's so much random shit that happens. Bro, you know, and you can tell they're also setting this up so that they can hand this franchise over to Dom's son, right? Because they're prepping up for like the next generation of fucking Fast movies. I mean, for Christ's sake, his son's in there killing people, bro. And he's like fucking 12 or 10. I don't even know how old he is. He's like 12. This motherfucker is killing bitches.
He's a Toretto.
It's exactly, bro. Wait till you see what they do with John Cena. What they do with Toretto's brother. He becomes the uncle, and it's like, I'm not gonna spoil anything, man. But his whole character's like a 180, and I like it. Like, John Cena's fun, but like the movie is so. Oh, and what's her face is awful in it, man. I can't fucking Brie Larson. Why is she even in this movie? That's a good question. It's such a pointless character. It's such a point, and she just doesn't fit. She's just there because it's Brie Larson. And like, I just on one end, like, I hate the fact that these things are still going, but on the other end, if you're gonna watch this movie, man, like, I know I say this a lot, but this is a movie that you want to see in IMAX because it's that movie. The number, and I haven't mentioned it yet, but the reason why this movie isn't fucking dog shit, and I mean fucking awful, Jason Momoa. This motherfucker, this is the single best thing that he has done in his career by magnitudes.
Wow.
By magnitudes.
Wow.
It's not even close. Aquaman, no. Fucking shit in Game of Thrones, no. This right here, and he plays a character, and he knows he's in a Fast movie. It's like he's so self-aware, and he's so cartoonish, but like just the right. He reminds me of like somebody's gonna get really upset with me when I say this, okay? And I mean this with all due respect, and it's nowhere near the level of this character. But it's like Heath Ledger's Joker. But if you took Heath Ledger's Joker and put him into a Fast movie and then took away all of the serious drama and the gravitas of like the real acting, and then you just told him to go have fun and just be this diabolical, over the top character. It's what it really felt like Joker. It felt like a mix between like Heath Ledger's Joker and I don't know. And I know when people are saying Heath's Joker, I don't mean he acted as well as he did or embodied that character the same way. But what I'm trying to say is it's the impact that the character had, the villain has on the movie. You know, it's so, when people think Fast 10, they're just going to think this. So they're going to think Jason Momoa.
Yeah, with Heath, it wasn't a Batman movie. Everyone talks about it.
No, it was a Joker. It was a Joker movie with Batman in it. That's the way I feel about it. And this movie, it's like you've got Jason Momoa's character, and he just elevates this whole fucking movie to the point where it's like, because the problem with the Fast is, especially with this one, is it realizes what it is, but then it still tries to hit you with like emotional stuff, and it's like they want you to cry, and they did that really well in 7 because we knew that Paul Walker passed away. But like, this is just another installment, and they take it like super serious, and it's like the stakes are there, but nobody's buying that shit. Like, we're all there because it's just dumb fucking stupid fun that you just turn your brain off, and how many ridiculous stunts can they actually do? But what he does is he like grounds this movie to the point where he almost, while everybody else is acting like Vin Diesel's like, yeah, family, he's literally making fun of him about family. Like, he's like, bro, family? Like, dude, do you know what movie you're in? You know what I mean? Like, he's there to like check the whole, it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain, but he does such a fucking brilliant job. His one-liners are so cheesy, but the way he delivers it is genius. It's so good, bro. It's so good. It is the best villain I've seen in one of these types of movies, maybe ever. Like, we're talking, I can't think of a villain. All the villains you see in John Wick, all the villains you've seen in like Expendables or Fast movies of past, Raid, I don't know what other, all these Netflix Extraction and all these other, crazy over the top action movies. Dude, this guy he blows them all away. It's not even close.
Well,
it's not even close. And I think that's what, if he was not in this movie is mid as fuck. It's still better than 8 and 9. It's still better than 8 and 9 for sure. But it's super fucking mid, and it takes itself way too serious. But Jason Momoa reminds us that, guys, we're just here to have fun. So grab some popcorn, get on the biggest screen possible, and watch Jason Momoa elevate this franchise the way The Rock elevated the franchise back in Fast 4 or 5 or whenever he made his appearance. He's that good. So I've given my glowing review.
Damn.
For Fast 10. It's a bad movie, but it's a good bad movie. It's like yes. And the stunts, they're not at the level of some of the past. They toned it down a little bit. They toned it down, but they elevated the villain. Can anybody in the chat name me a villain from the past Fast movies outside of The Rock, who was really like an anti-hero that, we knew he was going to join the team? Can anybody remember any of the villains? Can you, Adam? Can you name me a villain from?
They only really had technically the villains. Well, I guess technically speaking, in Tokyo Drift, it was DK, right? It was the Drift King, but they didn't have they didn't have villains in the sense of this is a group of good people versus the group of bad people until 4. Because 1, 2, and 3 were just racing movies.
Yeah.
Where it was the title character versus somebody that lives in the same city that they're racing against. And they're going to sort their differences out on the track. And so that was that. Then once it hit 4 and it was all right, we aren't really about racing in cars anymore. Yeah. Now we have villains.
Heists and stuff, yeah.
Nothing, no.
Yeah, you've got The Rock, you've got Shaw, who were always kind of adversaries, but not really villains. You know what I mean? But this is a villain. He kills a lot of people, and he does it in ways that you're like, oh my God. And that is dark. If you send your kids to this movie, if you're like, yo, I'm gonna send my 10-year-old, my 9-year-old to a Fast movie, bro, they're gonna be scarred. Because there's imagery in this. There's things that are in this movie that are dark. That what this guy is doing. I'm like, whoa, am I watching the same movie right now? But then he does it in a way that it's very Joker-esque, but not in a so
he's doing crazy shit, but he's not acting as if he is. He's very light about it.
Correct. He's super light. It's cartoony, but it's such a perfect tone. It's so good, man.
Now how stereotypical do they get? Because in order to do that, it's the classic way of doing that with bad guys in movies, to make it seem like they're nonchalant, they don't care while they're axe murdering children, is that they'll have them eating. Because a normal person can't eat while this shit is happening. And so if you've ever watched any old movie, especially 90s, early 2000s, every bad guy that's supposed to be the completely unhinged, fucking very calm, cool, and collected and eating something at all fucking times. So was he snacking on shit while axe murdering people, or was he just more of the Joker where he's completely out of his tree and he's just laughing every time he does something?
No, I don't think there's any eating. There is one there, and I don't want to spoil it because it's kind of like a shock factor where it was right. I cannot believe they put that in there. That should be on a Blu-ray deleted scene shit that just didn't make the cut because kids are probably gonna watch this movie. I will say it has to do with nail polish, and that's all I'll say.
Okay.
Where I was like, what the fuck? And it was very okay, all right, I see but it worked with this character, and he was basically a guy, and they spliced it all together, where they showed flashbacks of some of the other movies, and you even get some Paul Walker in this, but then they show it from a different point of view, where he was actually kind of behind all of these different big action pieces, and Dom Toretto and his family has been fucking over him and his family for all these years, and now it's his time to destroy and kill his family. And, there is death in this. People start, we're getting towards the end of the franchise, so we're told. And, some people don't make it out. But then again, look what happened to fucking Han. And we thought he died, and he didn't actually die. Well, he did die, but the fans wanted him back, and they did the movie magic and shit.
Yeah.
So, and Han's in this. Hans eats, and there's a really there's a meme. There's a scene where, bro, I don't want to spoil it, but you're gonna be like, you're gonna laugh. That's why I said Adam's gonna enjoy this, because Adam likes the fast movies. And this one I think is actually pretty good for a fast movie. But like the people that hate it, because it doesn't get the best critic scores, and some fans aren't a big fan of it, but I see what they were doing with it and where they're going, and it made me excited. And I don't know how they got The Rock to wanna, but The Rock
Black Adam failed and The Rock returned.
Yes, but I'll just stay after the credits, and the credits are actually quite cool the way they were doing it, and it's like a minute or two into the credits, and then the scene kind of comes up. But yeah, I mean, I give it like a solid like 8.5, 9 out of 10 for a fast movie. For a regular movie, it's like a fucking 5, a 6. But if you know what you're getting yourself into, I mean, there's so many people in it, dude. Pete Davidson's in it.
They're just pulling anyone and everyone and just throwing them in there.
There's so many random people and random scenes that just make no fucking sense. Like, you could have cut that. But then when I look back and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Just okay. Why not?
You just go for you're there, you're along for the ride. Like, as soon as they got away from the racing part, I had to tell myself after like 4 and 5, which I could not, like, I fucking hated 4 and 5. And then 6, like, I had to tell myself, I said, you have to change your mindset. You got 1, 2, and 3. They were about car culture and racing and whatever. And now, if they're going to keep doing this, they've got to, they got to move it along, because tuner culture doesn't exist anymore at that point in North America, and you got to move on from it. Although ironically, tuner culture is making a comeback, so
it's making a comeback.
I'm waiting for the last Final Fantasy, the last Fast and Furious movie,
dude. This one, there's some street races, and there's a really sick street race. Once again, the villain just does what the villain does, and it's fun. It's fun. So there was like a solid 15-20 minute section of the movie where you've seen people racing for life or death.
I think the Fast and the Furious franchise, they're going to try and continue this shit on. I don't know how successful.
Well, they already announced. Did you not hear just recently where they're getting ready to? I hate to say it, but they're going to do an all-woman spin-off version of Fast and the Furious in the future. And I think they're going to end up doing, if this movie hits $1 billion, which I don't know if it will. I don't think it will, but maybe. I think you're going to get a trilogy for this Fast 10 Part 2, Fast 10 Part 3.
Yeah.
If not, if it doesn't do super good, you'll just get one more, and then I think they'll start doing spinoffs, because it's very clear they are putting the eggs in the Toretto sunbasket, and I think that they're gonna end up in 5 years from now, a while from now, right? They're gonna bring back Fast and the Furious through Dom's son, and Vin Diesel will end up making an appearance, but it'll be about his son and some of the other characters. It'll be like the Avengers coming back,
but it'll be something that, even if you don't like all the movies and they're cheese and they're fucking whatever, I feel like it's gonna be something that, for me, I'm gonna miss the shit when it's gone. It's kind of like me, my relationship with LeBron James as a basketball player. Like, I put him in the top 5 players of all time for sure, easy. But I'm not the biggest LeBron James fan in the world, but I'm also going to miss it when LeBron James retires here in the next, 3 to 4 years. It's going to be weird. Basketball without LeBron James, who the fuck fills LeBron James' shoes in the world of basketball? It's a weird thing. Just to have a piece that's that big, even if you're not a fan of it, to be taken out of that is difficult. It's weird. And Fast and the Furious as a franchise been around for so fucking long. I mean, we're going on over 20 years now, and it's going to feel weird when it's no longer something that's like, oh, here comes Fast and the Furious fucking 13. Woo, here we go. And then it goes away and you don't have it anymore. You're like, fuck. I could go for a Fast and the Furious movie right now.
Yeah, but you're going to get these spinoffs, right? So,
yeah, that's true.
And then it's only inevitable before they bring back it again. So it's Vin Diesel we're talking about here.
All right, and Universal. It's going down.
Mm.
But yes, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get it.
And with that, I think it's time to get a couple of quick questions in, Mr. Black. So it means it's time for, that's right, tech support. Patreon.com/lagtv. If you want to financially support the podcast, get a couple of extra bonus bits, $5 a month or more now, gets you access to being able to ask us questions on a post I put up before the podcast each week called Tech Support. You ask the questions, we give you answers, some here and some interspersed throughout StarCraft matches. Let's see what we got here. We answered Blainer's question last week. Mad Kiwi asks, what's your favorite role-playing game of all time? So Japanese RPG or otherwise, doesn't matter, any kind of role-playing game. And he actually stipulates, I'm not allowed to say The Elder Scrolls 3. Okay, fair ball. So what is your favorite RPG of all time, Mr. Black?
Final Fantasy VII. I don't think it gets any better than that.
So Elder Scrolls 3 is clearly my favorite. Other than Elder Scrolls 3, I don't know if I have an order after that. I just have ones I like. So the ones that are a bit of a mishmash, Persona 4, Lost Odyssey, and probably Mass Effect 2 are in that, well, they're in that category for sure. I would say those are the ones. Although there are others. I mean, like, Knights of the Old Republic. That's a fucking phenomenal video game. Let's see here. Mr. Miyagi asks, if you were stranded on a desert island but to keep you company, you could choose to have 3 albums, music, 3 books, and 3 movies. What would they be? That's 9 items, Mr. Miyagi. You're asking a lot.
Miyagi, you're
right
asking
now.
for a lot here, bro. All right, I'm gonna give you one. I'm gonna give you one. All
one
right.
of each. My album.
Well, I'm going Thriller album.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Movie. Fuck. It's got to be like, that's a tough one because it's like one movie. 3 does make it a little bit easier because then you can have some variety.
So while you're thinking, I'll do my music while you're thinking about your movies.
All right, yeah, do your music.
All right, so if I have to try to pick 3, I'm gonna say Michael Jackson's Bad album instead of Thriller. I'm going with Bad.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Backstreet's Back album.
Oh.
And my third. My third, I might just go with like the album that's the Ray Charles Greatest Hits. I'll take for my third. Because I know there's one song specifically that I can listen to on repeat for like 4 or 5 straight days, and that's Georgia on My Mind. And so I'll take a Ray Charles best of, Backstreet Boys or Backstreet's Back, and Bad are my 3 albums.
All right, I'm going with Thriller, Backstreet Boys, Millennium.
I didn't know if I wanted Millennium or Backstreet's Back.
Millennium is goated, I think. And then I'm gonna go. This is, and I haven't had a whole lot of time to think about this, so I'm probably gonna regret saying this. Oh wait, did I? Oh shit, there's only 3.
Yeah.
Okay, well then between the 2, I'm gonna go with Frank Ocean, Channel Orange. So I'm gonna go with those 3.
Okay.
I was gonna say Kanye West's 808s and Heartbreak. I think it's a super underrated album.
Do you think 808s and Heartbreak is underrated, or do you just people just you don't think talk about it as much as they should? Because I think a lot of people think 808s and Heartbreak was a pretty dope album. Like that had a lot of good shit on there.
Maybe. But people, I don't know. When people talk, they always talk about like Graduation. They don't really.
That's true.
They don't bring up
that's fair.
808s and Heartbreak. But oh, it's a fire album, dude. It's such a vibe. It's such a vibe. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Okay, movie wise, I'm gonna go with Oh shit. This is gonna be tough. I'm gonna go with Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained. I need something lighter and a feel good, so I'm gonna go with Shawshank Redemption. Even though it's not super light, but it's like to make you feel good film. It's lengthy too. And then I'm gonna go with and I'm going with The Matrix. I'm going with The Matrix, man.
That was Matrix is one for me. So for movies, it's Matrix. So it's Matrix, The Last Samurai, and The Matrix, Last Samurai, and Rush Hour. For my
Oh, I
comedy.
should have put a comedy in there, man. All right, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, and movies are so tough. Like, if you're asking me this question again in like 2 weeks, my third one is probably going to change, but who knows? Anyway, I'm going to stick with that. And what was the last thing?
Books. If you have books.
Books. And we're supposed to be stranded on an island.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to go with like, you know, Stranded on an Island for Dummies. I'm sure it exists. You know, I feel like you're gonna need some sort of educational book to like get you through. Oh man. Shit. The thing is, like, most of the books I listen to are like, they're not storytelling books or anything like that. And I feel like if you're gonna listen to, you wanna get a book that like takes you somewhere. I mean, fuck. I would love to have picked like Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones, but like those are so many books that like you can't really take the whole series, can you? That's kind of cheating. Right?
That's true.
You don't want just one. It'd be awful to be on a cliffhanger the whole time. I don't know, man. I can't really say, because every book I have on my phone they're not fiction.
Yeah, it's hard to take because there's so many books that are part of series. It's really difficult to say what it would be.
I'm probably taking 3 books that has everything to do with surviving on an island. Like, I had to go and find out.
Well, if the assumption is I'm going as I am and I have no means of survival, then yeah, one of the 3 has to be like something that's going to help me fucking survive.
I think all 3 got to be some kind of survival thing. Like, one's survival, being stranded. One's like how to, I don't fucking know. I actually don't know, but I feel like all of them have just got to be about surviving.
Whatever Les Stroud has written, give me that. And if he's written more than one, give me more of them. But if I had to pick something that's not that, like if it's not utilitarian in that way, and I was just like random ones.
You know what? Fuck it, man. I'm taking like a romance novel. I want to get my dick hard and fucking. I want to be like, you know what I mean? I want to read
50 Shades of Grey.
Well, not that. That's like, 40-year-old mom shit. But I want some like, I want something with like some sort of black stallion on the front of the cover. It's just called like, I don't know, like Midnight Oil or something. I don't fucking know, but I need something. I need romance. I need 1 romance novel and 2 survival, because I got music, I got movies. There's no sex in these movies that I can recall.
There's some sex in The Matrix.
Oh, there is, but I mean, it's not heavy. You know what I mean? I'm out there by myself. I need I think reading a book is just more imaginative. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you're dude out there by yourself. Your imagination's gonna be fucking running wild. You don't need nothing to prompt it. Your imagination's gonna be doing some crazy shit.
Give me a romance novel. Give me like the longest romance novel there is. And I need it graphic. I want I want 4 paragraphs about how veiny the cock is. You know what I'm saying? Like I need extreme detail. I need to know exactly the degrees in which the tatas hold and the shape of I need detail. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good choices. I don't know. I guess to be like more with what Miyagi was probably thinking of. I don't know. I like so many of them are part of a series. I'll take the Mist Reader, which is technically 3 books, but it's packaged as a singular novel. So the Mist Reader, Rama by Arthur C. Clarke, and I'll take the Bible because something tells me I'm going to have a coming to Jesus moment out on an island by myself for a really long fucking period of time.
The Bible's actually a really good one.
Yeah.
Okay, romance novel, Bible, Old Testament. And
just the Old Testament?
Old Testament.
What Bible do you have that's just the Old Testament? You out here buying just the Old Testament?
Just the old. I just want the old.
You just want where everything goes horribly wrong?
I just want it as it's meant to be read.
Oh, I
want to know it.
Well, that's the Old Testament isn't the age of the book. It's just the Old Testament is just the shit that came, before Jesus, basically.
I want the good stuff.
That's the Old Testament is not much of a page turner. Probably the first 3 quarters of the Old Testament is just the lineage of people from Adam and Eve. It's basically like reading a family tree for like fucking 300 pages. It's not exactly exciting, but
well then.
But if you got the imagination, maybe you're thinking of all these different people. I don't know, maybe that's maybe that's your solution.
Yeah. I'll have a coming to Jesus moment on that island after I'm done. After I'm done reading my.
That brings a whole new meaning to coming to Jesus. I'm going to hell.
After I'm done with my fucking with my romance novel, I'm having a coming to Jesus moment, and I'm going right to the Bible because you feel bad when you're done every time. So I'm going right to the Bible after I'm asking for forgiveness.
I'm gonna need to ask for forgiveness after that joke. Oh, Jesus, have mercy on my soul. I had to say it though. It was like softball. It was right there. It was fucking teed up. All right, let's get one more fucking question in. Let's move on from coming to Jesus. Let's see. Mr. Miyagi again. I'll just do this again because it's just easier to get this one here, and it's at the top of the list, and I'll read all these other ones for StarCraft. If you could relive one full day from earlier in your life, what day would that be? What would you do if differently, if anything, and why? There's one that's a bit of a random one. I think this just comes to my mind because I've been watching so much basketball as of late. But there was a time in high school ball. I just played the 1 year of high school ball in my senior year because the first 2 years I was just doing school shit. And the guys eventually convinced me to play ball again because I played City League for years with them before, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll fucking play. So I was on the court, and I was really, enjoying my time playing basketball, and I was pushing myself further and further out to see how much I wanted to see how far I could be to dunk. I wanted to see, because I could dunk at the time. If I did now, I'd shatter both of my knees before I even left the ground. But back then, I could do it. And I wanted to see how far out I could go, and it eventually got to the point where the furthest I could dunk one-handed was from 1 foot beyond the foul line. It was the farthest I could get out and dunk. I barely made it, but I got there, and I was so excited. And I got into a match. It was at a game, and all the guys hated me because I never dunked in a game. Like, I had the ability. I could stand under the net without moving and just 2-foot jump and dunk. I never fucking did this shit in the game. I don't know why. It was a mental fucking block. I did it all the time in warm-up, just casual dunking and shit. Get into a game, layup. And the guys hated it because they were like, Jesus, do something! There's 2 people on this team that you can dunk and you're 3 of them! Fucking dunk! So I like this one game, we're against a team, I think it was Dartmouth at the time. And we were getting fucking crushed because these guys were crazy athletic. They had more than one guy that could dunk on that team, and they were like jumping over top of us to do this shit. It was fucking wild. I didn't know what was happening. I was confused. I was scared. But we were out there. We were getting. We weren't dying in this game, but we were down like 10 points. And I get the ball on a turnover, or sorry, a teammate gets the ball on a turnover, and I'm cooking. I'm already up to get the lead pass. And so he fucking baseball whips that shit to me. I'm on the lead pass. I get it. I got a full fucking runway. and ahead of me. There ain't a single fucking soul in the building. It is me and a hoop, and that's the show. And everything goes slow motion, and I'm fucking driving. I'm on my strong side. Heart beats and shit, and I take off. And bro, I shit you not, this was the highest I jumped in my life. I was a full fucking half of my forearm above the fucking rim. I was in a stratosphere, and you know what happened? I laid that bitch in.
Oh no, Adam, come on.
The whole bench stood up at the same time, and we're like, and then they went, no,
Adam.
why, no.
No. You had to show you, man. You see, you messed up, bro. You should have showed all those because you know the Dartmouth team was 80% black, and you needed to go over
130.
Okay, I was just trying not to. I was trying not to go there, but hey, you went there for me, so I do appreciate that. You needed to show the white boy has got it. Has got it because I know that your basketball team was 80-90% white.
White. We had one. It was Jimmy. Just one guy. One dude, Jimmy. That was the show. Everyone else was white.
Yeah. That's why you were down by like fucking 50 baskets.
Fuck, bro. They were legit jumping over top of people and shit. I was like, this is bad out. I was too tall for them to do that to me.
Culture, man.
But it was bad out there. It was tough. And I had that. And I went and it felt so good. It's kind of like, you know, when you're golfing and you have the driver out or whatever and you hit the ball and it's so pure you don't feel the hit.
You just know.
You just know? It was like that in air with a basketball. And I was like, and I was just sailing. Fucking sailing. And I was so fucking high. I wasn't elbow, but I was like half my arm above the fucking rim. And I just saw finger rolled that bitch. And it was so clean. But then I hit the ground on the other side and I went, fuck! I should have done this my moment right there. That was like the one time. So yeah, anyway, that was probably like it's a silly one, but it would have been so much cooler. You know, I had that one. It would have been the one time to do it. That would have been it.
I mean, I'm gonna have a little bit more of a sappy one. I'm just gonna go with you know, being 12, 13, and just reliving Christmas with my entire family. You know, with my grandmother there, with my with all my family, because
it's the good times.
You know, when she passed away, that was it. You know, we didn't. You know, we tried it. We did it for 1 year afterwards because it was like we felt like we needed to carry on. But then when the center of the family goes,
grandmas are the glue.
She was
bro.
the glue. She was the glue, man. And it was like, you know, the glue held on for like a season. It felt off. So I'm just gonna, and I'm not changing anything. I'm not changing. I just want to, you know, if I could relive it, just any one of those Christmases with my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, my family, my grandparents, with no worries, no nothing, good food, you know, video games, Christmas gifts. That's it. Just give me that.
The dream.
Simple.
That's a good one. I like that one. And we'll end it on that one. The feel-good story of the season. Brought to you by Mr. Maximus Black. We're going to go and play some StarCraft now. And by play, I mean record. Soon, if you guys pick it up, we might be playing. Mr. Black might be in on a Nova War Says before you know it. It could happen. We're getting closer. You guys just keep sending us the money that you don't have during an economic downturn. Shout out, by the way, Korean guys in chat here. Shout out, by the way, to the stripper index, which I want to be able to buy shares in an indexed fund based on stripper inside knowledge of how the market is going to go, because evidently so many high-profile, you know, white businessmen frequent the strip club that the moment that the downturn starts, they know ahead of time when we're actually in a recession. I hate to break it to everyone, but we're in one. There's a story about this one stripper that had it down so bad, or had down so well. A guy asked her, she said, I sold all my shit on the stock market. I'm going to buy back later.
It's time in the market.
Market crash, all based on dudes not showing up at the strip club.
Listen, man, the strippers, they've got like the sixth sense. They see the signs that Wall Street can't see. It's, hey, the dudes ain't coming in here throwing money around anymore. Everything is crashing. That must mean I got to sell my stock portfolio. And the moment these motherfuckers start ramping up again and start throwing 50s and 100s instead of these $1 bills,
That's when I'm piling my money back in. They've got it figured out. They got it figured out.
Because she said, look, a lot of business done in a strip clubs and golf courses. She said the moment that they stop bringing potential clients or business partners and shit in to show them a good time and all that stops happening, business is stagnating, and it's not long behind that. They stop showing up. And the market goes down, and the strippers out here. I said, man, get me an index. Sense. I will buy into this index, the stripper index. I will put it all in the strippers index.
I'm selling my whole real estate portfolio, and I'm putting it into the stripper index. Just give me a 2% dividend, and then I'll just let capital appreciation go. You just tell me when to buy and tell me when to sell.
That's the dream. I'm in. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Thank you for stopping by, and enjoy the StarCraft as well if you're coming back for that later on in the week. And until then, stay safe out there. Have a good one, and peace.
Peace.